I am Elston Flohr, a member of the faculty in the Department of English, Theater, and Speech at Bethany College, a member of the board of the Historical Association, and director of its Oral History Project. Today, October 27, 1985, it is good to be speaking with Helen Teichgraber Lindahl, Mrs. Sam Lindahl. They reside at 629 Glick Street in Chapman, Kansas. Helen is a granddaughter of Theo Teichgraber, who operated the Smoky Valley Roller Mills in Lindsborg for a number of years. Her father, Emil Teichgraber, was also a miller in Marquette and McPherson. As a matter of fact, practically the entire Teichgraber family was involved in the milling industry. First, I would like to ask you, Helen, about the German origins of the Teichgraber milling interests, and in particular, about your great-grandfather, August Wilhelm Teichgraber.
Part of my information that I'm giving today is from the Teichgraber family history, which was compiled in 1981 by two of the sons of Bernhard Teichgraber in Emporia, Kansas. They have done a lot of research, and this will eventually be compiled into a book. My great-grandfather, John August Wilhelm, was born near Waldheim in Saxony, Germany, February the 7th, 1820. His wife, Christina Wilhelmina Antonia Fischer, was born at Lauter, Saxony, February 17, 1833. They were married June the 3rd, 1851 at Waldheim, and they were the parents of 13 children. She died in 1873, and he in 1878. She was also from a family of millers. The children, as they were successively born, were Theodore, Heinrich, who died in infancy, Wilhelmina, Bertha, Edward, who died in infancy, Richard, Gottfried, died in infancy, Bernhard, Maria, died in infancy, Wilhelm, Emil, Anna Marie, and Paul, who died in infancy. There were 3 sisters and 5 brothers, and eventually they all emigrated to the United States. Theodore came to Lindsborg, Kansas. Richard had a mill in Eureka, Kansas. Bernhard and Emil had a mill in Emporia, Kansas. And Wilhelm had a mill in Gypsum, Kansas. There are a few family pictures here. This is the wife of Wilhelm. They lived in Gypsum. I compiled these for a family reunion several years ago. This is Mrs. Bernhard Teichgraber of Emporia. She is the mother of the men who compiled the history. This is Marie, who later was Marie Ballmeyer. She was one of the sisters. This, by the way, is Theodore Teichgraber.
Now, your great-grandfather, I understand, in Germany had a grist mill, is that correct? Would you tell us something about the location of that? And
this is a picture of the grist mill in Niederfrohna, Germany, on the Frohna River. It was powered by water. It seems that, well, of course, this was a multi-level structure with the millstone in the center of the building. And at the side, we have the sawmill. And here are the logs that go up there and were cut into wood. Over here we have a store, and it has a courtyard where people could come to buy things. And adjoining that is a bakery. Now, it is not known that John Wilhelm owned all of this, but it is certain that all of his family worked there and contributed to the work of the family. On page 4 in the history, I might read you a little bit about their home in Germany. And this also was the house in which my grandfather Theodore was born. The family lived in a home that was a 2-story dwelling, but so constructed that the living quarters for the family and the stables for the livestock were all under one roof. This was a common rural custom still found today. The household was managed with a firm hand and set responsibilities, with the stable floors receiving their weekly scrubbing as regularly as the floors of the family living quarters.
Is that grist mill still standing?
I think it has been destroyed by fire, the original, but it has been rebuilt.
And operating?
I'm not positive.
It wouldn't be a
about
grist mill
this.
anymore, though, if it were, I suppose.
No, I presume they have some electricity or other power. But the family history, I thought this was interesting, repeats the fact that this family disliked leaving their beloved Lutheran church in Germany. The tombstone in Niederfrohna for August Wilhelm and his wife, which was erected in 1878, bears the inscription from 2 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 6. He which soweth sparingly shall also reap sparingly. He which soweth bountifully shall also reap bountifully.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, you have identified August and Antonia Fisher Teichgraber's children, did you not? At first, when you were giving there were 13 children, and quite a number died in infancy.
Yes, 5.
5 died in
Yes.
infancy. So then there were
left 5 boys and 3 girls.
Remaining.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And those 5 sons, you said, all became millers.
In Kansas.
In Kansas.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And Theodore came first, and the question might be asked, why did they come to America?
Yes.
The reason was military conscription was part of it, overpopulation, financial survival. In 1873, Germany experienced an economic crash and depression. And that was the year that Theodore came. It was also the year that his mother died. And history tells us that between 1871 and 1895, there were 2.5 million Germans that immigrated to the United States.
That's surprising to me.
Yes.
2.5 million.
And I might add here, too, that milling and some farming was the means of livelihood for this family. But they achieved success and prominence through toil, thrift, faith, industriousness, and a dedication to the work ethic, which was so characteristic of the European immigrants that came to the United States.
I note what you said about the military conscription, that this was typical also, I've heard of Swedish immigrants here.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the men came to avoid, well, for one thing, to avoid the military conscription in Sweden.
At one time, we thought that Theodore didn't serve in the army, but he did. But coming in 1873, as he did, he just escaped fighting in the Franco-Prussian War.
Mm-hmm. Now, we need to hear more specific things about your grandparents, the Theodore Teichgraber. His first name was really Ernst, wasn't it?
Yes.
He went by the name of Theodore.
Yes.
Can you review offhand the place of his birth and the date of his immigration to America again?
He was born at Gibersbach, Saxony, on October the 5th, 1851, in the house in which his father was born. He was baptized October the 19th, 1851, in the Evangelical Lutheran Church at Waldheim. In 1864, he was confirmed in the Lutheran Church in Niederfrohna. He learned to be a master miller under his father's guidance. And he landed in New Orleans or Galveston, Texas. We're not sure. Some records in some of these places have been destroyed. He spent 15 years as a miller in Peoria and Quincy, Illinois, and was in St. Louis between 1874 and 78. In 1879, he resided in Jefferson City, Missouri, where he met Emma Hartwig. She was born April 22, 1861, at Jefferson City. She was the daughter of John Hartwig and Ida Jentz. They soon moved to Alton, Illinois, and their first child, Minnie, was born there. They then moved to Fayetteville, Illinois, and Emil, my father, was born there. At this time, Theodore was joined by his brother Emil, his sister Bertha, and his brother-in-law Herman. They all came from Germany then. In 1883, he moved to Jefferson City and was there for 2 years. Antonia and Carl were born there, and John Hartwig also, who lived to be only 9 months. He then moved to Nickerson, Kansas, and Leona was born there. In 1887, he moved to Assyria, where he was a miller at the Assyria Roller Mills. And in 1888, he moved to Lindsborg and lived for 19 years. He rented the Crescent Mill in Lindsborg, and in 1889, he leased the Smoky Valley Roller Mill. And in 1890, he purchased this water-powered mill.
What was the year again?
1890.
In 1890.
1890, he purchased the mill, but he came to Lindsborg in 1888.
Mm-hmm.
So he was here 2 years.
Now he moved. This is now your grandfather.
Grandfather.
He moved a lot, didn't he?
Yes,
in
he
Illinois
Yes.
and Missouri. Do you have any indication of why this was? Why the?
No, I don't.
Mm-hmm.
He apparently was a very good miller, and maybe each job had a little more money in it or
to
something
offer, yes.
when your family is growing.
And in Nickerson, Kansas,
Yes.
was that also a mill?
Yes, there is a mill at Nickerson, Kansas.
Now, would these have been water mills? Do you know?
I don't know about all of that. No.
Assyria, I hadn't.
No.
You have no. Information about what kind of a mill that was. And then the Lindsborg, the Smoky Valley Mill, you said it was the Crescent Mill. I haven't been able to find out anybody who refers to that name. Do you happen to know anything more about
just
it?
from his family history.
They call it the Crescent Mill.
Yes, that's what they call it.
And there was I understand there was a Clarn Johnson who was an early miller here. I think that was a grist mill.
Yes. Well, the Smoky Valley, they used the grist too, and it was interesting in the reading. In 1873, of course, the Mennonites came to Kansas with the turkey red wheat, and it has an endosperm, and it's in the center, and so when you have a grist mill and you grind your wheat between 2 stones, it was hard to take care of that endosperm and make the very best flour.
Yes.
So, of course, later on, when my grandfather rebuilt the mill after the fire, he put in steel rollers, and that gave you a better quality of flour.
Because of the turkey wheat that had been
the hard red winter wheat.
Endosperm that you're talking about. So, did he operate it at all in the early when he first came as a grist mill?
He apparently did, yes, and some water power.
Some water power, and then
beside the river.
So somebody else had actually built the mill.
Yes, there is that. It's recorded in some of these newspaper articles, and I'm sure that you can find it.
We can get that information from them. You talked about the fire. What other disasters are you aware of that occurred at the mill when your grandfather was running it?
He had 2 floods, one in 1891 and in 1893. And on October the 14th, 1897, the mill was destroyed by fire. And as I understand, the winds were quite high, and they really feared for the safety of the town.
Mm-hmm.
So immediately after that, they wondered what he would do. He started to rebuild, and he doubled his capacity.
So that rebuilding is what's standing down there at the present time. Okay, so he came here in 1888. 1888, but was that when he came to Assyria?
No, he came to Lindsborg.
But he didn't actually buy the mill until 1890.
Yes.
And then he operated it for how long?
Till 1907, when he died.
When he died in 1907. Okay. Who were Theodore Teichgraber's children? In other words, it would be your uncles and aunts. And do you have any pictures of those up on your chart?
This is Minnie, the oldest,
Mm-hmm.
Minnie Edith Teichgraber, and she married John William Hagstrom.
Mm-hmm. John William Hagstrom.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then Emil John Teichgraber, my father,
Mm-hmm.
here, he married Ida Sophia Johnson. Carl Theodore Teichgraber married Dora Pauline Carges. Antonia Christina Teichgraber married Joseph Emanuel Hagstrom. As you will see, Minnie and Antonia married two brothers,
Mm-hmm.
William and Emanuel. Then Leona Emma Teichgraber married Ralph Van Trine.
Mm-hmm.
Here is another picture of Leona, as she is called the youngest chauffeur in Kansas.
That's an interesting
Her Ford car, yes.
The youngest chauffeur in Kansas.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And this, as I pointed out before, was the wife of the miller at Gibson.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This is a picture of the Teichgraber children. Here is Minnie, Antonia, Emil, and Carl. Leona was not in that picture.
So there were 5 children.
Yes, the 5 children. And then here they are again as they have matured. Here is Minnie, Antonia, Carl, Leon, and Emil.
Mm-hmm. And again, the picture at the top is
Theodore.
It's the grandfather.
Yes.
It's the grandfather. But you don't have any pictures of your great-grandparents.
No, we have the 2 large pictures in the mill office.
I
And
see.
our family gave that to the...
Oh, you mean
the frame pictures.
The Smoky. So if you wanted to see those, you'd have to go down to the
Yes,
mill to...
and they're quite large, and
I see.
so they are in the mill
Mhm.
office. Yes.
Mhm.
Our family gave money to renovate the office.
Yes, well, good.
My immediate family.
Now, you said that your mother, or your mother was, your father, Emil John Teichgraber, and then your mother was Ida Sophia Johnson, right?
Yes.
Do you have information about her family and their coming to America and so on?
She was the daughter of Charles August Johnson and Wilhelmina Christina Peterson. Charles was born in Småland, Sweden in 1848 and died in 1917 at Lindsborg and is buried in Elmwood Cemetery. Wilhelmina was born in Nykil, Östergötland, Sweden, April the 9th, 1859, and died in Pueblo, Colorado, July 23rd, 1931. She is buried beside Charles in Elmwood Cemetery. And the story is told that when they were immigrating with other Swedish immigrants to Kansas, or to the Middle West, a contingent of the group elected to stay in Buckland, Lynn County, Missouri, which is close to the northwest corner of Missouri.
The group broke up.
Yes. The remainder of the people came on to live in Lindsborg. Charles and Minnie had 3 daughters, Emma, Ida, born June 23rd, 1885, and Esther. When these girls were a little bit older, a representative of Bethany College toured the area and suggested that they attend school at Bethany. My grandfather liked the idea, so he sold his farm in Missouri and moved to Lindsborg to educate his daughters.
Isn't that interesting to dispose of a farm to come out to go to this relatively new school to educate?
And they had a number of relatives in that area, so they were very comfortable and had friendly relationships. He bought the farm near Fremont and, of course, sold that later and lived in Lindsborg, and the 3 daughters did attend Bethany College. So my parents were married September the 26th, 1908. And my mother lived to be 92 years old, and she died November the 12th, 1977 at McPherson, Kansas. And they are both buried in Elmwood Cemetery.
I understand that your maternal grandfather sold his farm, I guess, to my great uncle.
Yes, and they always call it the Flohr place.
It's called the Charlie Flohr.
Yes.
That's between, it's southwest of the Fremont Church.
Yes, and Twin Elms. west of 20.
But he had not built that huge house up there.
No, he didn't.
Mm-hmm. And then where did they live when they moved to Lindsborg? Do you have any?
I think it was North 2nd Street.
North 2nd Street.
Yes.
And that would be
the Sigerhammers. Later.
Did they buy it from your?
I'm not positive about that, but they did.
But they lived there later after your grandparents lived there.
After they were gone, and
I believe it's opposite where Vance Ekstrom.
I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, I believe that's where it is on North 2nd Street. Yeah. Now, how was when your grandfather Theo Teichgraeber passed away? What was the disposition of the mill?
Oh yes. Well, the story is told that he did go to. My grandmother died in April of 1907. She got up from a nap and fell across the doorway and died of a heart attack or a stroke, but died very suddenly. And he grieved very deeply over her death because they seemingly were very attached to each other. Then in December of that year, he received word that his brother Emil had died in Emporia, Kansas. Excuse me. So he went there for the funeral, and while there, he, in the company of his brothers Bernhard and William and Richard, he went to the hotel to get a shoe shine. And he leaned back, he was laughing for some reason, and he had a heart attack and died. So
this was in what year?
In 1907.
The same year?
The same year. So they had, of course, the two brothers were lying in state, and the people of Emporia were very sympathetic, and then a group of people came from Lindsborg to, after the other funeral, came to bring his body back to Lindsborg, and the mayor also, and then after the funeral, he was buried in Elmwood Cemetery. So they died in the same year, 1907.
And then the mill was taken over by?
Carl and Emil. Belonged in the family, and then that didn't work out so satisfactorily, and they needed to settle the estate. Leona was not of age. Minnie was her guardian, and so the two sons sold out to these sisters, and my father went to Marquette. This was in August of 1910, and he bought the KBR mill there and ran that.
And that would have been from
1910 on to 1936.
And then in 36,
the mill burned.
The mill burned again.
Yes.
So
you have this in mills. Part of it is our spontaneous combustion.
Spontaneous combustion.
In Marquette, it was the spark from a diesel engine went up the elevator shaft and it just exploded.
I see.
So
that had never been a river mill. Of course, it was a
diesel and
a diesel engine.
Yes, and my father adopted that idea from my grandfather when Theodore visited Germany in 1906. He became very interested in the diesel engines, and so my father worked on that theory and used that in.
Was the Smoky Hill roller mills run by diesel engines at one time, or not?
No, I think not.
No, they went from water power to electricity.
Yes.
Now, your father did work, though, at the Smoky Valley.
Oh, yes, as a young man. As a laborer. And then he attended Bethany College, and
you have a...
Yeah, this is a picture of his commercial class at Bethany College.
You can't identify, can you identify any of the other men in the picture?
Well, I think one of them was Mr. Abercrombie and Mr. Eberhard. I know Mr. Eberhard.
The banker Abercrombie?
Yes.
And then,
but I don't know which one he is.
And then Eberhard, Silver's father?
I'm not positive.
Oh, maybe there was another Eberhard in the business in Lindsborg, too. I don't know specifically the relationship there. But did your father do any work in connection with the building of the dam?
Yes, he did. He really built the dam.
Oh, really?
And the dam was built of limestone and laid in mortar, and the statement is made that in 1902 it was valued at $10,000, which of course would be much larger sum today. The dam went out the last time in 1940. There was a flood in 1938, which had weakened it, and there's been talk of restoring it, but I think for the present they've probably given up for various reasons.
Yes. So that's
and some opposition too.
And did you say that you mentioned that your father eventually went to, was it in 36 that he went to McPherson then to work?
Yes, he bought the Colburn Mill.
The Colburn Mill.
And changed the name to KBR. Rather than to rebuild the mill in Marquette, because it was just quite a disastrous fire, and the fire department wasn't equipped to handle all of that, so there was not much to salvage.
Is that McPherson Mill still in operation?
No, it was later used for wheat storage, and that was so popular for the farmers. And right now, I don't know what has happened to it.
Yes. Now, what can you say about the business of the mill when your grandfather was running and when your father was involved in it, in terms of the products and their sales and so on? It wasn't just a local kind of thing. They certainly marketed it.
No, in my reading, I found that he sold to a wide area in the Middle West, and that his flour and his products were very popular, and then it brought financial success to him, and in one place it stated it brought renown to Lindsborg. The principal brands of flour that were milled were World's Best, Golden Patent, Star, Sparkle, Baker, Triple X, Smoky Valley, and others. The flour was sent all over the world. In 1903, 2 carloads went to Spain. Shipments were made to England, Portugal, Africa, and nearly every part of the world.
So it was
a very, very successful business.
A lot of exporting of the flour products. We have some sacks, sample sacks here, but I suppose that they were at a time when, from a later opera. Well, maybe before we get into that, the Hagstroms ran the mill, didn't they?
Yeah.
Who were married to the 2 Teichgraber sisters. And then they eventually disposed of it, didn't they?
Yes, they disposed of it to the Runbecks.
To the Runbeck
brothers. And that was the Hagstroms last ran the mill in 1927. And then the Runbecks took it over in 1930. And they ran it until 1955, when it was used as an elevator and a grain storage center.
And so the mill was in operation up until 1955.
Yes.
Run by the Runbecks.
And then they gave it to the Historical Society.
And then they disposed of it to the Historical Society. Well, maybe can you just hold up some of these? These are probably the products made by the Runbecks, wouldn't you assume?
I presume so, yes. But this was the Smoky Valley vest that was used many years.
Yeah, and that was a trade name coined by the Teichgrabers originally.
Yes.
Yes, the Smoky Valley. That's the white cornmeal. So they also.
Oh yes, there was bran and shorts and
and of course Lindsborg had to have this kind of.
Yes, I might add that. When we were going through my mother's things, I'm interested in cooking. There was an old cookbook there, Lindsborg cookbook. It was tattered, and I noticed it had recipes from Antonia and Minnie in it, so I asked if I could have it. Well, later I found this advertisement, and I had it framed because I thought that way it would be preserved. But it says Smoky Valley Roller Mill. It takes good flour to make good bread. We grind nothing but the very best wheat, and therefore the flour we make is the very best. If you use flour from our mills, you will be well pleased with results when trying the recipes in this book. we also make good rye flour.
Yes.
Theodore Teichgraber.
Yes, that's interesting. I think on some of these, well, I've noticed, well, let's see. Yes, on this, well, this is they made the wheat graham, too.
Oh, yes, yes.
And this I thought was interesting. They had pancake flour, the Smoky Valley best, and notice on what's on the back of that. On the back of the Smoky Valley, there are recipes there for muffins and jams and waffles and griddle cakes. And, well, as we said, these are sacks that. Oh, and I've heard that. I heard the story that the runbacks were not happy with these sacks because supposedly the water in the river is not running in the right direction, but I can't make that out myself. Now, do you have anything else that you have a lot of pictures here?
Well, I have some postal cards. Theodore and Emma made a trip to Germany in 1906, and these are postal cards that they sent to my father. Mm-hmm. And at that time, my father was not married, so on one of the postal cards, my grandfather says that he has seen a lot of attractive German girls that he thinks would make a good wife. They had gone to Nuremberg, to Berlin, to Potsdam. They had been in Paris and also in Leipzig and in Dresden. You must understand that this area where they lived is in East Germany today.
Yeah.
And our daughter lived in Germany 3 years, and she was just 100 miles from the location of the family home. But to get there is another question.
Yes. It probably could, but there's a lot of red tape.
Yes, the family has some members from the family in Emporia have been there, but they go there very quietly, and the pictures that they take are taken very quietly because of safety for themselves.
Are there any distant relatives living in East Germany?
Well, they find people by the name of Teichgraber, but nothing very close, no. Mm-hmm. And these are clippings. This was the picture of my father.
Maybe you can just set them up there on the chart. I think they'll fit in that. Yes.
Newspaper clippings for the renovation of the mill. And the picture of my father, this is 1922. He was interviewed for the Southwestern Miller. And as you know, the mill was rededicated October the 24th, 1981. Mm-hmm. And this publication was edited by the Sosson brothers, who were very good friends of the family. They lived in Kansas City. And it happened that Morton Sosson then had been asked to give the address for the rededication of the mill. Mm-hmm. And so they edit the Miller and Baker magazine now.
Mm-hmm. Now there are a number of Teichgraber descendants living now in America, right?
Yes.
Are they all in Kansas?
Oh no, they're scattered all over the United States.
Scattered all over.
And I wouldn't say that all of them are in the milling business, but of course they all have an interest in it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and your children, yours and Sam's children, you have...
we have 3 children. Bruce, who is a pharmacist in Austin, Texas. He was born in 1944. And Eileen, who attended Bethany College and is married to an Army lieutenant now living in Munich, Germany. And Don, who is an engineer, and he attended Bethany 1 year and is now living in Denver. Mm-hmm. This is a picture of our 3 children, just the 3 of them, several years ago, and a family picture here. Mm-hmm. And here's Don and his. We have 2 grandchildren. Mm-hmm.
Have you covered all of the pictures up there now? I believe you have, haven't you?
Yes, I think I have.
Mm-hmm. Yes. That, and of course...
Some of these are just small snapshots. The family, many living in Lindsborg, Antonia and Leona, would come here always for Messiah Week. And so we always got together, and these are some pictures that were taken at that time. And here's another one of the children.
And then I've seen that
And
at
this
Christmas.
is one of our three children, or three of children in my family. There were 5 in my family. I was the oldest, and I was born in the house adjacent to the mill. And then the others were born in Marquette. So there were 5 of us, 3 girls and 2 boys.
Oh, yes.
And I and my youngest brother are the only 2 who are now living.
I neglected to ask about the house in Lindsborg where you were raised.
Yes.
That's the...
Well, I was born there, and my grandfather had that built right after he came back in 1906. So you see, they didn't get to live there very long before they died in 1907.
Just a year.
And it was supposedly copied after some pictures of the homes that he had seen in Germany. And the front hall or the foyer had murals on the wall of scenes from Germany. And Mr. G. and Mom had painted those.
Is that right? I wonder, have you heard
They have
whether...
been recovered, yes.
They've been
covered with paint.
paint.
But I always enjoyed looking at them.
This is that large brick house immediately west of the mill.
Yes.
And for how long did you live there?
Well, I only lived there part of the year because we moved to Marquette at the end of the year. Yeah.
So you spent most of your early life then in Marquette?
Yes, but we visited here a lot, of course, and I remember going in the mill and watching it work, and never thinking that it would be of historic significance.
Surely. Can you think of anything else that you'd like to comment on?
I just thought it was rather unique that this happened to be marked as a National Historic Site. My grandfather would never have envisioned that. And also that Kansas State University has talked of having it as sort of a lab for its milling students, and that, of course, they have the only milling and baking school in the world, and people come from everywhere to attend that school if they're interested in it. And so I thought that, it is interesting how some things turn out.
Sure. So, well, it's nice that something that the Teichgrabers were so important in getting going here is, in a sense, continuing. They grind flour down there on certain occasions, I guess, to demonstrate.
According to the authorities, it's the only mill of its kind that has been preserved in the United States with the original equipment. And I didn't tell you about Mr. J.B. Ersom at Enterprise. He was a friend of my grandfather's. And so when the mill burned, of course, my grandfather was short of money, and he doubled the capacity. And so he went to see Mr. Ersom, and they made a gentleman's agreement that Mr. Ersom would furnish all the equipment, and that when my father was so able that he could pay him back. And so when you go down there, you will see the J.B. Ersom name on the equipment, because he was of Swiss heritage, and he had this foundry at Enterprise. And so because of 2 men trusting and being friendly, he was able to go ahead with rebuilding his mill.
Well, that's interesting. I would like to remark that, you are then half Swedish and half German. So,
and as it states in this book, our family, our immediate family, was reared with Swedish and German customs and backgrounds, and made it interesting. My husband being all Swedish, I was married to Samuel Lindahl on the 1st day of August, 1935, and so we have observed our golden wedding anniversary this year.
Oh, nice. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, we certainly do thank you for your willingness to come and talk over your relationship, your family, the background, the milling industry. And we very appreciate it very, very much.
Well, glad I was able to do it. If it will help someone somewhere, why, that is worthwhile.
Thank you again.